Hi, I'm Rebecca Brand. Welcome to Rebecca Brand Recipes. This is a show cut up into segments. Every recipe I cook was cooked out of my home in Santa Barbara. My style of cooking is easy and inexpensive, and you're going to be amazed at how simply you can make these at home. Today's show is about dinner party dishes. At the end of the show, if you see something you like, I'm going to show you how you can get those recipes to make at your own house. So let's get cooking. So today we're gonna make roast pork, and what's so secret about the marinade is there's really no secret. We're gonna start the marinade first, and let me show you what we do. I just use these old ice cream buckets. The marinade we make is really made up of all the old wines from our class from last week. These wines didn't get drunk. I just dump them out. Typically they would say with pork you would do a red wine or whatever. You know what, it's acidic, it's gonna help relax the meat.
We can mix both.
Oh yeah, just go, go, go. We're just gonna make kind of equal things. We're gonna take kosher salt. We do about a half cup. This is the tenderloin of pork. It's only $2.79 a pound. So Tam, come over here, get the meat. If you're cooking, you gotta touch your food. Over there. So I cut it in half. If you have the time, take our meat tenderizer. This is a papaya enzyme. And so I take this gizmo, love it, and then that takes like 10 seconds and that side's done. Okay, then you gotta flip. So what we're really doing is just brining this. It'll plump up the meat, it'll be juicy, because it sucks it up. Every bite will be luscious. And you shove it in like that, you press it, so it's submerged. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make this really interesting topping for the pork. So we gotta peel our pears. This pear is a little mushy, but I don't care. It's gonna get cooked anyways, but it doesn't have to be totally perfect. Of course, they're best if they're perfectly ripe, but that's not what life is. You work with what you have, and you stretch what you have. You just take this old knife here, and you follow along. We're avoiding the core. Nothing brown came up here. She did perfect. Now keep going around. Now we put it on his belly, and we just go around quickly and cut all around. And so in the end, you have a little core. That I don't need. Cut this and just like that. Little wedges. That's on high, I want it hot. Now we're gonna do onion. I'm gonna teach you how to do an onion fast. End to end, cut the ends off. Okay, now the skin's off. This is the fastest way to peel an onion. Look how fast that is. There you go, watch your fingers. This is about the same size as this, and when you're cooking and sauteing, that'll make it cook evenly. So we do a little olive oil, the pan gets hot, and then I throw my butter in, and then I throw the stuff in like this. In go everything else. We take our pears and our onions. I'm just salting it. The pear is the most expensive thing in here. The onions were 1/3 the price per pound as the pear. So I stretch it by putting the onions in, but still it enhances the recipe because the onions are beautiful with it. They're sweet onions. Okay, so I'm in a hurry, Tamara. We have got to get that pork going. So we'll take it out. Now we're gonna dry it.
Okay.
Just pat it dry. I can make all kinds of rubs really quick, really fast, but when I'm in a hurry like today, which is typical of me, I'm just gonna use any old meat seasoning. We're practical cooks, we gotta get it in the oven, we have people coming over. So I'm taking this. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, that's not gonna be enough. So I'm gonna cut another corner and dilute it with salt. Because look, I'm running out. So all those other flavors in there are gonna get mixed up. Because if all I had was salt, that would be good enough. So see that? Now look at that. Rub it with the oil, lots of oil, back and forth, both sides. Then I put a layer of this on. There, and then I'll do the other side. Any way you get it on there is fine. I'd like to roast it in a rack. Here's this guy. I only have one of those pretty pans.
Okay.
So I gotta dig around and find what else I got. Shove it in there.
Okay.
You know, put a little of this in there. I don't want it to stick.
Yeah.
Put that on the
That's
bottom.
a good idea.
Okay, good.
Okay. Or does it
Fast side up. It's going to baste onto itself.
Okay.
The oven is at 450 degrees because I want to make a crust on it. And that's going to take 20 minutes, but if it's not the most beautiful color of brown, go another 10 minutes and it will be. Now, let's take a look at this.
Okay. Is it ready to stir yet?
No, it's not. I'm looking for some color. Be patient until you get some brown. So we're going to clean up and then we're going to come on back. So let's check it. Let's see what's going on, Tamara.
Okay, it looks like it's caramelizing.
Okay, that is some color.
Smells amazing.
Yeah, it's good. I don't want anything to burn. If I take a metal against the stainless steel and go like this, that color is now going to get into the color of the rest of it. We're going to take a little taste.
Yum.
Oh,
Oh,
hot.
that's so yummy.
It's hot.
Mine wasn't hot.
Now, this is fine. It's got enough salt in it, so
I
we're
like
good.
it.
So isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
That's going to go over the pork.
Yum.
Turn that down to medium-low. It can simmer. That's how it's going to finish. I don't have to babysit it if it's down there. Gotta check our pork.
Stop everything.
Let's see our pork. Not enough. I want the whole thing to be more colorized. I want 10 more minutes, so that's to be 30 minutes for this quantity at 450. See that? It's got some color to it. That's good. Now I stick it on the oven for 250, and it'll stay like that. It'll cook slowly. I have a couple more hours till they eat it.
Oh, nice.
Okay, where's our wine? We got a toast to that. We did a pretty good job.
Ew.
Toast to that.
I'm liking the toasting.
Cheers.
I really enjoy the pork. It's nice and tender. It's very juicy, and with the pear and onion compote, it is to die for.
Did you have any?
Pork!
Yes!
I'm the pork queen!
Now I've got to peel my potatoes because I'm making a potatoes with yams dish. Here we go. So this is such an easy dish. You peel the yams. And then we have our potatoes here. The red potatoes have such a thin skin that we do not need to peel them. So we're talking, you know, maybe a fourth of a potato, a chunk, something like that. To keep them from turning brown, we immediately put them in cold water. So into cold water they go. We're gonna cut up the yams, again into chunks, about the same size of chunks. It'll give it a beautiful orange color. This goes in, oops, the pot is filling up. I have it 3/4 full of water. So we have 5 pounds of potatoes, 1 pound of yam. It's gonna look like this as it goes into our stove. On. So let this cook, let this boil for about 30 minutes till it's fork tender. I'm gonna get ready the toppings for my potatoes. So I use sour cream. I use butter. I'm gonna have to melt my butter. The quickest, easiest way to melt butter is a microwave. God invented microwaves for me. Here we go. I think a minute and a half is good. And now this sour cream is gonna get mixed up with that butter. And I'm gonna pre-salt it because then I don't have to think about the salt last minute. And I kinda know, so this is a lot. This is, gosh, you know, with all that quantity of potatoes, we're talking 1 cup of butter and 1.5 cups of sour cream, 2 teaspoons salt. Take the butter out. The butter is gonna go with our salt. It'll melt the salt along the way, dissolve that salt, which is a good thing. Okay, so this is gonna be all happy and it's gonna come to room temperature. So when my potatoes are hot and ready to go, I can just blend them in and it's not gonna bring down the temperature of my potatoes. The trick is I don't add the chives or the parsley till the end because otherwise it'd take the color out. We don't want gray looking parsley, we want it bright green. All right, this is good to go. So now let's check on our potatoes. I think they're probably done. Open. We need them to be fork tender. So, yo, they're perfect, perfect, perfect. So I'm going to drain them in the sink. And they are so hot. Careful, careful. Up and down. This gets the water out. Now, My target zone is that copper pot over there. 1, 2, 3, ah! Oh my gosh, I didn't spill anything. This is the sour cream and the butter. So in this goes. While that's melting, I'm gonna chop the parsley to have it ready. Watch your fingers. That looks yummy. Look at the beautiful color of the yam. 200 degrees, holding time, like that. Here we go. On the side, sitting happy, down, convection bake, 200, happy, happy. I forgot the parsley! A little sprinkle of parsley, you know how that goes. For the Brussels sprout roast. These are fresh from the farm. Really, these are gorgeous.
Couldn't have said it better.
So what I'm gonna do is just put them single layer on a baking sheet. It doesn't get much easier than this. These are so fresh. Usually you have to take a knife and you need to cut the ends off. But these are just fresh from the fields. I didn't have to bother to do that. So that is fantastic for me. And then I'm gonna throw some olive oil on top of this. Check this out. And I'm gonna toss it with my hands because it's faster that way. We use our hands in cooking because it's just quick and easy. Our hands are perfect for this kind of stuff. Now I get my salt and I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of salt on it. I'm putting these Brussels sprouts in there because they're gonna get a beautiful caramelized color on the top of them. So tonight I'm gonna roast them in the oven. And if you roast them like at 400 and they get this brown coating on them, they get very sweet. It's almost like it caramelizes them. So there we have. Isn't that great? I stick it on the top shelf. So these came out of the oven with the gorgeous color that they are. And I put this in here. And they're gonna go back in. I think I'm gonna add a little butter to them. And then if I put foil on the top, the moisture will come back. So here's some butter. I'll toss them one more time before I serve them. Okay, foil on the top. Keep the moisture in and into the oven, 200 for holding. That is all set. Oh, I'm so happy. That's really working great. Tell me about the Brussels sprouts.
I like how they're charred.
I'm gonna try one.
I like the brown
They're
exterior.
so good.
Yeah, I like the texture.
They're like a meal right now.
The next thing we gotta do is get the beets boiling for the salad. So our beautiful farmer's beets today, washing these, and now I'm gonna cut them up and put them in a pot. Let me tell you how you clean a beet for boiling. I boil them for my salads and they're beautiful, but you just cut the top off. Don't cut the root off. If you cut the root off a dark red beet, it will bleed and bleed and bleed. Just the tops are all you need. This is one of those candy cane beets. I think they called them pink beets. I call them candy cane because the inside looks like a candy cane. And here again is our Detroit Darks. I need my sweet golden beet. You can tell it's a sweet golden beet because it has the yellow stem on it. Now, these are gonna cook because of this size for about 30 minutes. And they'll be just simply pierceable with a fork, and that's when you know they're done. These are beautiful with a balsamic vinaigrette on it and olive oil. Cold water, and I use cold water when I cook because if I were to use warm water comes through the water heater tank. That is not as healthy as using fresh cold water. Here's my beautiful beets in this cold water. I'm gonna put this on the stove for 30 minutes after it boils. And that's probably 45 minutes by the time it starts to boil. So I think of that in my head. I don't want them too mushy, so I pretty much keep a close eye on those. All right, so now it's time to do the beets. Let me show you how to clean them. So look at that. I just pull it off. I pull off the tail, I pull off the top. See, it's like peeling an egg. Beechwood red. This is beechwood red. Show you my very favorite and very easiest balsamic vinaigrette dressing. It is so simple and it's delicious, and it is my go-to salad dressing every time. We have 2 parts olive oil, in this case 2/3 a cup. We have 1 part balsamic vinegar. Now I take Italian seasoning out of the bottle and I add 1 fat tablespoon and 1 teaspoon salt. I also like to add the salt in my salad dressing because I always forget to add it to the salad and toss the salad. And I do believe the salt's gonna leach out the moisture and make a pile of water on the bottom of my salad. So I have this in the dressing and that'll salt everything. So I then stir this up, and that's as simple as it comes. Now, this will separate, and right before I serve dinner, I will stir it up again, and then I will either let my guests toss their own salad or I'll toss it for the big thing. I typically like the guests to toss it because if we don't go through that whole salad, I get to put it in a little baggie and put it in my fridge and have it the next day. So there we have it. That is Rebecca Brand's vinaigrette dressing. I put the salad together with cucumbers and beautiful red peppers and romaine lettuce and celery. I want to add my lovely heirloom tomatoes that I got at the farm. So I'm gonna cut my tomato. Look at that. You gotta love nature. Now this is how I know it's from a really pesticide-free, organically grown farm, because it has the bruises on it and the imperfections. What kind of variety is this?
This is a Cherokee heirloom tomato.
Beautiful. It's gonna be gorgeous in a salad. This is so wonderful to have freshly grown tomatoes grown outside, because you sure can't get them. These are very hard to get anywhere.
And the flavor is so much more fresh.
So I don't mind having an imperfect tomato. Oh my gosh, that color is gorgeous. There's another imperfection that goes into the trash pile. There's another one, whatever. The rest of it is just delicious. So I do chunks. When I cut tomatoes up, it's just gonna be chunk. It is just called a rough chop because it's about flavor and it's beautiful. Look at that. There we go. Sometimes I cut them like this because look how fast it's gonna be for me to chop it in a rough chop. Like this, like this, like that, and it's in. I'm exhausted. I'm gonna have a heart attack. Except I've eaten all this good fruits and vegetables.
Maybe we put this on the
Uh-oh. Oh my God. Houston, we have a problem. Gravity. I'm Rebecca Brand, and today we're going to make a peach cobbler. So I'm going to pick the best peaches I can. So you got to pick them where they start falling off and they're a little soft around the edges, because in a peach cobbler you want the ripest peaches you can get. Oh, now this one's pretty good. Sometimes the ripest are the ones that hit the ground that very day. I'm going to find those. Beautiful. I think I've got enough to make my cobbler now. Okay, we've got those peaches. Now let's start. This is what you're going to need for the recipe. You're going to need 1/2 cup of butter that's melted, a cup of white sugar, a cup of flour, 3 teaspoons baking powder, 1 cup of milk, and a little pinch of salt. Now that's for the flour part of it. The next part is your peaches, your brown sugar, a little lemon juice, and just a dose of cinnamon to bring it on up. The first thing we're going to do is pour our melted butter into our pan. Now you can use a pie pan, you can use a 13 by 9 inch pan, whatever you have is fine for this. So that we're going to set aside. Into our next bowl, we're going to put our flour ingredients. This is the cake part. So I dump my 1 cup of sugar. I have my 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of milk, pinch of salt, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1, 2, 3. I'm very happy with this. Now I'm not going to over mix it. You don't want that. It's perfect. It goes into on top of my butter. I'm not going to mix it. I'm just going to pour it into my butter. And I don't care about those lumps. Those lumps are going to give me a little air in the cake part of it. So I'm good with those lumps. So to peel a peach, I like to use a paring knife. And I just cut that skin off. These peaches are warm from the garden. So you just peel it off, pick it off like that. I've got an organic garden, and there's a lot of imperfections with what grows out there. And I just cut out the bad stuff. I don't waste. Okay, and it's just a rough chop. You don't have to make your little slices perfect. This is fine. A little juicy there. Good. So you're looking to get 4 cups of peeled peaches. So now we're going to turn the stove on high. We're going to dump our peaches in. 1 cup of brown sugar. Now I want the juice of a lemon in there. So I dig out my little seeds. The seeds are super bitter. Don't get a seed in there, because whoever gets that bite is going to say that's a pretty crummy peach cobbler. So I take my fork and I twist it. Now look at that. You get all that juice because the fork helps you grind it out. Okay, I'm hearing it boil, so I'm going to turn it down to medium. I don't want anything to burn. So we keep stirring it. Now, pinch of cinnamon. That's a big pinch. 2 pinches. A pinch is equal to 1/8 a teaspoon if you don't get your fingers dirty. Okay, they've been boiling for 5 minutes. They're ready. So I'm going to pour them into our crust. Now look at that though. That crust and all that baking powder, it is really grown. So I'm really happy with the looks of this. I know that baking powder is doing its thing there with having all those air bubbles in there. So I'm going to pour this in. I'm not mixing it in. I'm just pouring it over the top. Oh, look at how beautiful. That is so beautiful. Just pour it over the top. Just pour this over the top. That is going to be one beautiful peach cobbler. Wow. Ready to go in the oven. So we're going to put this in the oven for 40 to 45 minutes until the top starts getting golden brown. Okay, we'll check back. Oh my gosh, it is perfect. Wow, what a color. Those peaches are just golden. So let's try this cobbler. I love the crust. The crust is beautiful. Look at how brown that is. I'm just going to use a spoon to scoop it out. Ooh, wow. Oh, that is so yummy. I want a big serving. All right, let's have a bite. It's really hot though. A little bite of the crust, a little bite of the peaches. That is so delicious. The top of this crust is crunchy, and the inside of the bread is moist and delicious like a cake. And then the peaches, of course, are perfect. So, bon appetit, and make this for your friends and family, and you're gonna draw a crowd, guaranteed. So subscribe to my channel, and let's make a peach cobbler together. If you want to make any of the recipes you saw on my show today, I've posted them all on YouTube. I'm going to show you how to find them so you can jot the recipes down and make it at your own house. So you got to get to a computer, you press your website browser, go to your address bar, and you type in www.youtube.com. Enter. Then YouTube's going to have its own little search bar. So in that search bar, you type in RebeccaBrandRecipes. You hit enter on your keyboard, and then you're going to get my page. So my page is going to come up, and then you want to search for the recipe you saw on the show. So you go into this little black thing. It's a black search bar. It's like you can never see it, so let me show you where it is. And in that bar, you type in what you saw. Let's say you saw a chicken recipe. So if you type in chicken and you press return, you're going to get all my chicken dishes, and then you can just click on whatever chicken you want. It's as simple as that. So start watching the video, and in it comes the recipe. So you click pause, and that's it. Get your pencil and paper together, start writing. Those are the ingredients, and they're exactly what I make on camera. For the techniques, you might want to watch it again. But bon appetit, happy cooking, and I'd love to know how it turns out. Cheers.